Hey guys, it's Avenger. Welcome back to the channel. Are you a fan of musketeers? You know, Athos, Porthos, Aramis, D'Artagnan? Do you like swords and musket load? No, wait a second. Hang on. Wrong musketeer. It's the Beechcraft musketeer. This is FlysimWare's Sierra C24, aka the Beechcraft musketeer. Now, this is an aircraft that's a single engine, of course, low wing, retractable gear aircraft produced by Beechcraft between 1963 and 1983. So about 20 years. 4,500-ish were built during this time. And it's had many different variations, including the CT-134 Musketeer, a military version that was produced. Now, we had the Musketeer, we had the Sundown, and we had the Super Musketeer, and the Sierra. Now, what is the Sierra? Well, the Musketeer Super 3 proved utility of the 200 horsepower engine in that Musketeer airframe, and the fixed gear prevented it taking full advantage. So the Musketeer Super R, which became the Sierra, was a retractable gear variant of this. And of course that came around in 1972. Now, if we look at the specifications on this particular aircraft, we're talking about a 127 knot max speed, cruising 102. Although I'm pretty sure this is showing the wrong model here, which is pretty funny. So it isn't the correct details there for that. But, of course, based on the power actually we're looking here, typical of the GA type here, we're looking at about 146 knot cruise speed for this type of aircraft, but it is running, of course, the 200 horsepower engine there. Now, this aircraft from FlysimWare, the producers of the Cessna 414, the Learjet 35, we've had some very fantastic work from them. And this is no different. It's expensive, though, at 37 euros, which varies depending on where you buy it from, of course. I'm buying it from FlysimMarket with tax, so it's 37 euros for me. You can get it on the marketplace now, and it comes about £29 there, so there's a large discrepancy on where you're buying it from and how much it costs. Now, this aircraft, of course, does look a lot like a Piper, but it does somewhat precede, or it sits alongside the Baron line, or the Bonanza line, I should say. 1947, of course, for that, so been very much later and more parallel, so much more of a Piper competitor in that regard. Now, this model comes with, of course, a full tablet system. We have simulation of the full avionics here. We have full electronic simulation. We have state saving. We have full fuel system simulation. Different options for... wow, I speak English, I promise. Different options for your avionics, including the G3X. We have the plug-in for Navigraph on the G3X. We have the 530s from Working Title. We have PMS and TDI GTN 750 support in the aircraft from stock, like a lot of the other aircraft here. And we have a load of paint schemes too. Without further ado, let's go take a look. Because for 37 euros, it's going to have to give me a lot. Now, externally, in fact, we'll go in here first. I'm going to put the tablet on just so I can show you some of these things because I want to turn them on. We have a very much A2A styled tablet here. And I'll put some covers on it and tie downs. I will not put the tail cover and top cover on because they are literally just a cover. They're pretty self-explanatory. Put the GPU on. We'll take the upper cowling off as well. Lower cowling. Put the fuel caps and oil cover. Okay. Let's take a look around the aircraft. Now, for 37... Oh, cool. We're doing that. Did I press the right button? There we go. It's not my day today, is it? So first thing you can notice, at least on this livery, is oil. Or not oil, but you've got a little bit of rust dripping down from some of the rivets. You've got a little bit of rust building up on some of these. Not every livery is this rusty or this old, but a bit of something stuck on there. This one's definitely looking a bit more used. And this is, of course, the company livery, if you will. But this looks like the average GA plane I've seen in plenty of airports over my time. And she looks a little bit on the well-loved side, which is really nice to see. I'm sick and tired of seeing everything looking pristine and factory fresh. This thing looks like I can smell it. In a good way. Because there's a certain smell, the oils and fuels of GA aircraft, that really do smell fantastic. And this smells like I can see it. Or see, looks like I can smell it. There's English words I was going to use eventually. Look at this. Oh, greasy, nasty. Love it. Fantastic. Right. So outside looks good. Let's take a look inside, shall we? We'll put the cowlings on. We'll turn the GPU off. We don't really need that at all. Close the fuel caps there. Now, we can open the different doors from there, but we can also do it by hand here. Including the rear door up in here for the baggage area. So the back of the aircraft, this is to a baggage compartment. And Pablo will be very pleased we have a floor storage compartment for totally appropriate goods here that are in no way illicit in the slightest. We'll close that off. And as someone who's actually questioned me in the past, no, Pablo is not a specific Pablo. Pablo is just a guy who likes groceries. No connection. It's got those classic beach-style yolks in here. Inside, again, feels like I can smell this thing. It looks aromatic, is probably the best way I can describe it. I can smell feet in this aeroplane. Put the fuel on here. There we go. Now, we can turn off the bottom of the key so you can see things without things dangling down. I'll turn air down there. Everything looks very nice and realistic. Now, we only have the options of the G5s or the glass, which you'll see in a second. So, the cockpit otherwise has different layouts available for you here, including supporting those custom avionics systems. But I would have liked Steam options as well, not just the G5s. So that's a personal criticism. For €37, you can give me regular Steam gauges and the G5s and the G3. I don't think that's exactly too much to ask. Pitot cover off, tie downs off, and chocks can stay on for the time being. So we can turn our various lights on and off there as well. We've got weather to read out our wind systems. Very much like A2A's tablet system here. Seating, including turning on the co-pilot. Captain Whiskers in the house, of course. The pilot on shows yourself. And you can put different people in the back here as well. We can be horrified by our 3D passengers. Cindy, she doesn't care. She's reading her iPad or on her iPad. She does not give a crap. Will over here, he's tying his shoe in the back of a plane. Why are you taking your shoes off in a general aviation plane, Will? Rookie move. Got baggage to go in the rear. And of course, the weight changes dynamically with this. Same with fuel here. And we have our pre-flight checklists. We'll go through those in a second. So those are pre-flight here. We can choose which one we want. So gear is selected down. I know that already. Magnetos are set to off. Circuit breakers are all in. Electronic equipment is off. Alternators and masters to on. Fuel quantity check is down there. Everything's looking right. It's exactly the right number. Flaps are currently up, so we'll push those all the way down. All the way to full flaps on that one. Exterior inspection will do that, of course, but we can see here our flaps are functioning. They are good to go. So we'll pull those flaps all the way up there. And we'll go to our next checklist here before start. So, those are all set and ready to rock. Equipment is now off. Gear select still down. Fuel select is to fullest. It is done. Start checklist will be throttle full forward. Okay, prop is high RPM. Mixture is full rich. Alternator mags will go on there. Avionics are staying off. Boost pump on for 3 seconds. 1 and 2 and 3. And done. And we'll go throttle open 1/4. There we go. Clear prop. Sounds seem reasonable at this moment in time. Can't tell you till we go to full throttle, but we'll see it there in a second. So we're not done a hot start. After start will be here. Throttle, yeah, we're looking for about 1000 RPM. That's fine. We're about that right now on the throttle where we're at. Ammeter is charging. Avionics will go on. Flaps are up. And everything is ready for taxi. So we'll leave those for the time being. We also have settings here, including click sounds in the tablet. We can change our sun visor type if you like these transparent ones. You can do that. You can even go for the old school velveteen kind of plasticky ones that just block the sun. Easy. We can show the passengers or not. Save fuel state, payload synchronization, change units, and various other features here. Don't like the tablet? You can make it go away. The mount will stay, of course, but that is there. And that's the locking pin for our yoke there in case we want to basically do that. And that can be taken out there. So, take the lock pin out, of course, as part of our checks. So, we're using the working title 530s in this one for now. Not at the end of the world, of course. So, we want one... Oh, to 00 on that, and we'll go to on. Right, we're going to take her out for a bit of a spin, see how she behaves. Of course, we also got our headphone dampening here. We'll leave it off for the time being so you can enjoy the sounds. Storm window open, of course. Nice change in audio. The attention to detail is important for me, because if you forget things like that, what else are you forgetting, right? Okay, let's get this thing moving. Okay, now she's decent at FPS, but I have noticed a little bit of stutters occasionally, but nothing particularly too horrific. Now, by the way, this thing will run out of battery if it's about 1,000 RPM, so you'll need to keep it above 1,000 to get the alternator charging the battery. You will run out otherwise. So the electronic system here is more detailed than you might otherwise see, which is nice to have, of course, as a feature. So far, I mean, it's in a market here where you're comparing things to things like A2A. The detail level, the appearance, the persistence are in that sort of field. Tablet functions are similar, and what we're expecting these days, I like it. I would have liked to see walk-around features perhaps, or similar things like that. But in general, we do have a very nice aeroplane. Perhaps some sort of simulations along the lines of the steaming up would have been cool, like A2A aircraft tend to do. But whether they're willing to simulate that, I'm not sure. But you're getting a good lot of system simulation. I do not believe there is actual engine simulation, though, in this, unfortunately, which is where the drawback does exist. Okay, full throttle here. Very placid on takeoff. Speed's coming up nicely. Not really much pull. Just gonna ease back on the controls here, lift the nose up, and she just flies away off the runway. Very standard sounds for a GA type like this, with a Lycoming engine. It could very much be mistaken for thinking it's a Piper. It isn't. I do like the open gear though, that's quite a neat little one. It's very Arrow 3-ish, isn't it? Obviously very different window up front there, profile, and more of that beach style cabin than the Pipers, but it's very Pipery. Although she's definitely not as powerful right now. Let's pull this out here to make sure our RPM's where we want it to be. Pull those flaps in. Roll her around to the left. It's not bad at all. It flies incredibly nicely. It's a niche aircraft, the Sierra, of course, because the Beech Musketeer is not a particularly popular aircraft in sim terms. There are a lot of them around, of course, in real life, but of course, you think Beech, you think Bonanzas, you think the A36, you think the V35, you think the G36s, of course. You definitely think Bonanza. You know, you think Queen Air, you think King Air, you think Duchess, you think Duke, you think, of course, the Baron. You don't think of the Musketeer in the sim. I have another review coming out later this week, of course, about the Grumman Tiger, another aircraft I did not expect to see in this sim. I didn't see one in FSX, there was a mediocre one for FS9, so we've got some weird-ass aircraft coming out for 2020, in the dusk days of 2020, the dawn of 2024. We're seeing some quite different aircraft that do exist quite well in the real world, but are not super seen in the sim world. Let's pull that power a little bit out here. She's very placid on the controls. I'm going to just quickly set our heading here. There we go. I'm going to set us on altitude hold. Nice and placid. Of course, I'm flying towards a mountain, so we're going to want to correct that here. Let's take it across a notch here. I'm not intending to fly far on this autopilot, but I want to just quickly give it a quick spin. Make sure she's doing what she's expecting to do. So we're going to turn off altitude here. We're going to go up on our vertical speed. Get this thing climbing. She is doing quite nicely here. Can't open that in flight, that's okay. Now, of course, we do have our emergency gear extension, which is in here somewhere. It's under there. It's a bit of a reach, really. You can put that in there. Now, do we want to basically do this thing in terms of... Did I just drop that back? I did not. You know what, I'll turn the autopilot off now, and we'll head back towards the airport. So make sure we turn off your damper and autopilot. And we'll bring her round here. She's got a lot of roll in her. Quite sensitive to the roll axis. More than I might expect. Very willing to roll. Graphically very beautiful. Pretty aircraft with enough system simulation to be interesting, but not the full bean. Which I might... Obviously, this is early. This is version 1. We're going to see more stuff coming along. Now, we did with the other, of course, offerings from FlysimWare. See a lot of evolution along the timescale for them in terms of what they brought out. Now, I'm going to pop the gear down here to give us some drag, because these slick aircraft do tend to be like that. I must say I like it as an aircraft. It's different. It is very good visibility compared to some of the Pipers. The nose is a fair bit lower, I'd say. At least a reasonable amount lower than a Piper, which I think actually is quite a charming feature. It looks like an arrow, but it's not an arrow. So it's a little bit different. I would have liked to have seen standard instruments on the dash there rather than the G5 units. So that's a slight negative point in my eyes. Maybe we'll see a version with that later on. Of course, they do tend to do a lot of iteration and updates and patches. When FlysimWare tend to release something, it's version 1, and they are far from done with the aircraft. Now, one thing that I'll be curious about is with 2024 coming out, they've got a pretty extensive tablet system in this aircraft. What's happening with this? Because obviously 2024 has a stock tablet system with working titles and operating system on. Will we just see these pages transferred to that new working title tablet in 2024? Because this looks like a very similar model, so will they just be transporting that gauge into this model and using that? I'm expecting they might. Probably why it doesn't have any moving map features on that tablet as well, or anything else of the sort. Chances are that will be included. So that's just a supposition, but an aircraft releasing this close to 2024, we have to have our curiosities, don't we? So speed is okay right now. I'm going to drop it down to second notch of flaps here. I'm a little low on my approach considering I have trees. So I'm just going to even it out and hold the nose a little bit here. Trim myself neutral. Prop full fine. Gear is confirmed down. I've got 3 green there. Okay, hold the nose. She's a little bit of a sinker if I don't hold that nose up. So I need to be aware of that. Power out here, drop the nose to maintain speed. I'm a little bit off to the left, so I'll just quickly center that out here. That's the stall horn. More power applied. We're just nudging ourselves north of that, so I'm a little bit too slow. Let's me try to hang it in the air a little bit more than I should do. Bring her down here. Nice and gentle off the power as we bring it down. And round out now. Let her settle. Greased that thing. Beautiful. Hard on the brakes because I'm not paying for the brake pads. And we can turn off at the taxiway here. Don't murder your brake pads, folks. That's exactly what you don't want to do because they cost money. So standing on those things to get off at the taxiway is not recommended in the real world. So what do I think of what this essentially is 1.0 of the Beech here from FlysimWare? Very pretty model. Gorgeous model. Well executed in terms of systems and operations. Cool tablet. Nice features. Cool options in terms of avionics there and support for all those different systems people want. I can see it's been a great tourer for cross-country type flying. And it's definitely a competitor to the Just Flight Pipers, which of course have had that market, including the Arrows, including the Arrow 3 specifically. This is a direct competitor, realistically. And I think, given it's in the £30 mark on the marketplace, and it's more expensive on third-party sites, just a heads up there, £30 versus €37. Big difference there in pricing. The euro mark will be about €35 if that's in pounds, I believe. Last checking. So, very neat little aircraft, very well made. And with given how much updates they make from FlysimWare, I'm expecting a lot of great things from this. It's different, and I like different, because it's not a cookie-cutter Cessna or a Piper. So that is a big plus for my book. I think it's a winner. Thanks for watching. Bye.